My father wanted 20% of my restaurant. He brought a lawyer-drafted document to prove it. What he didn't bring was an invitation. They didn't call first. They never do. I was in the walk-in checking the fish delivery when my sous chef, Marco, poked his head through the door with a look I'd only seen once before, the night the health inspector showed up unannounced. "Table 9, he said. "They're asking for you by name." Said their family? I hadn't spoken to my family in 6 years. Not since the night my father sat across from me at a diner in Cleveland and told me that some daughters just weren't built to be depended on. I untied my apron, hung it on the hook, and walked out through the swinging doors into the dining room of Marrow, my restaurant, the one I'd built from a folding table and a business loan I'd co-signed with nobody but myself. There they were. My father, Gerald, sitting like he owned the booth. My mother, Carol, beside him, already flagging down a server for more bread. And my younger brother, Dean, slouched in the corner seat with his phone in his hand and his old smirk still fully intact. "There's our girl," my father said, spreading his arms like he was about to hug me across the table. "Look at this place. You've done well for yourself." I didn't sit down. "You have 5 minutes," I said. "I have a full dining room." My mother set down her wine glass with a soft, deliberate click. "That's a nice way to greet your family after 6 years. You didn't come here to say hello." My father's smile thinned at the edges. He reached into his coat and slid a folded document across the table, the way people slide something they already expect you to refuse. "Dean's had some setbacks," he said. "A construction deal that went sideways. We need you to sign him on as a 20% partner here. On paper only. It'll help him with his creditors." I looked at the document without touching it. "You drove 3 hours to hand me legal paperwork in the middle of dinner service. We knew you wouldn't answer the phone," my mother said, and there it was, the same tone she used when I was 14 and she wanted me to apologize for something that wasn't my fault. Patient. Wounded. Just reasonable enough to make you feel crazy for pushing back. "Your brother is drowning, run," she added, using the nickname only she still used. "You have all this," she gestured at the exposed brick, the open kitchen, the line of servers moving through candlelight, and he has nothing. Doesn't that mean something to you? I thought about the 4 years I spent paying off a construction loan I never took out, one my father had opened in my name when I was 20, using my social security number to bankroll Dean's first failed contracting business. I found it by accident on a credit report at 24. It took me until 28 to clear it. $41,000. They never once mentioned it. I never once brought it up. Until tonight, I decided I would. "Give me until close," I said. "I'll come back to this table." My father leaned back, satisfied, like a man who'd already won. I walked to the office and texted the only person who needed to know. "They're here. Table 9. Don't let me sign anything. 3 dots. Then, on my way. Eleanor Voss had been my mentor since I was 22 years old, burning my hands on a flat top in someone else's kitchen. She was also the reason I still had my liquor license after a supplier dispute nearly sank me in my 2nd year. She arrived by 9, ordered a coffee she didn't drink, and listened without interrupting while I told her everything, the loan, the fraud, the 6 years of silence, the document sitting on table 9 right now. When I finished, she turned her cup slowly in her hands. "You have documentation on the original loan?" "Every page. I've had it in a fireproof box since I paid it off. And your father just tried to hand you legal paperwork he expects you to sign tonight, in front of your staff, under pressure." "Yes." She was quiet for a moment. "You could call the police right now. Coercion, unlawful pressure, it's enough to get them removed. If I do that, they leave, and the loan disappears with them. They've never had to answer for it. Not once." Something shifted in Eleanor's expression, recognition, maybe. "Then tell me what you're actually thinking." I told her. She opened her laptop without another word. Give me an hour. Keep them fed. By the time I came back to the table, dessert plates had been cleared and my father had ordered a second bottle of wine he had no intention of paying for. I want to hear about Dean's situation, I said, sitting down for the first time. All of it. My father explained, a flipped duplex that fell through when his partner disappeared with the permits, investors circling for close to $180,000, Dean with no liquid assets and no way to show good faith. The 20% stake, my father said, was just optics, something to wave at creditors while Dean found his footing. And if his creditors come after the restaurant? I asked. That won't happen. You don't know that. My mother reached for my hand, and I let her take it, because hospitality is a kind of theater, and I needed one more scene. You were always the strong one, she said. We counted on that more than we should have. But Dean needs you to be strong again. It was a good line. It turned 6 years of silence into a compliment. Can I ask you something first? I said. The construction loan. When I was 20. Do you remember it? My father's face flickered, half a second, gone before Dean could catch it. That was a long time ago, run. $41,000, I said, keeping my voice level. In my name. I found out when I was 24. I paid it off myself. I just want to know if we're being honest with each other tonight, because if I'm going to help Dean, everything goes on the table first. The silence lasted longer than any of them expected. That was a mistake, my mother finally said. We meant to pay it back. I believe you, I said, which wasn't quite a lie. I just needed to hear it out loud. Let me get the paperwork from the office. I want to go over the terms before I sign anything. Eleanor was waiting with 2 documents and a legal pad covered in notes. Here's what you're actually offering him, she said. Not equity. A secured personal loan from you to Dean, framed for his creditors as collateral. It's legal, it protects you completely, and if his creditors come after the stake, there's no stake to come after, there's a note, and the note reaches his assets, not yours. And the recording? Legal in Ohio. One-party consent. You're the party. She tapped the second page. Get your father to say the original loan out loud, on the record. Not to use it tonight. To have it, in case you ever need it. He's on his 3rd glass, I said. He thinks he's getting exactly what he wants. Then go finish it. Back at the table, I set the folder down and let my shoulders drop, just slightly. Not defeated. Tired. The exact expression of someone finally choosing the easier path. I've been thinking about what you said, I told my mother. About always being the strong one. Maybe I made it too easy for everyone to assume I didn't need anything. I paused. I don't want to do that anymore. Something in her face softened, the way it always did when I gave her exactly what she was looking for. So I'll help Dean, I said. But I have to record this for my accountant, anything over 10,000 needs documentation before signing, or I'm the one exposed. Not entirely true. Not verifiably false either. I set my phone on the table and pressed record. State that this is a secured personal loan from me to Dean, I said. And for the file, just so this reads as the first formal transaction between us, I need you to confirm the earlier loan, the one from when I was 20, was separate and unrelated. My father, 3 glasses deep and certain he was winning, said it plainly into the microphone he didn't know was live. The loan. The amount. That it was taken in my name without asking. That it was never repaid. Then he signed. So did my mother. So did Dean, hand shaking slightly over the collateral clause on page 6, which I told him was standard bank language for secured loans. None of them read past the signature line. My phone buzzed. One message from Eleanor, transaction complete. Dean owns the Maple Street property outright. Equity positive. I stopped the recording. I need to tell you something, I said. The money for Dean's investors, I already sent it. This morning. Not to them. To buy the debt directly. 60 cents on the dollar. They were relieved to sell. The table went still. That means I'm his creditor now, I said. And the document you all just signed secures that debt against Dean's own assets, with no other means to cover it. I turned to my father. And you just confirmed, on a recording, that you opened a loan in my name 9 years ago without my consent. That's fraud. The clock on that hasn't run out. You can't do this, my mother said, her voice cracking for the first time all night. I'm not going to the police, I said. Not tonight. I'm just going to keep it. The same way you kept $41,000 of my credit history for 6 years and never once said sorry. I stood, folder in hand. I'll ask Marco to bring the check. There's a Holiday Inn on Route 8. I'd start driving. 6 weeks later, Eleanor filed the lien. Dean set up automatic payments in January, small, steady, the kind that stretch out over years without ever missing. He never called to argue. He just paid. My father left one voicemail 3 weeks after that night, for minutes about family and loyalty and everything I supposedly owed him. I listened to it once and deleted it. My mother texted 4 words in the spring, I hope you're happy. I typed back 2, and meant every letter of them, I am. Then I put my phone away, walked back into my kitchen, and got to work, because the dinner rush doesn't wait for anyone, not even the people who taught you that you had to earn your place at every table you ever sat at. If this story hit home for you, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one, drop a like if you'd have done the same thing at that table, and tell me in the comments, would you have called the police, or would you have played it exactly like Ren did?